Good day, boxing fans. Saturday night at Phoenix, Arizona, in the good old United States of America, streaming live on the Zone. I am fairly certain as you can be with things in boxing, because you can never 100% be, but we might see a fight of the year candidate, and definitely the finest tradition of Mexican boxing, when WBC and Ring Magazine junior bantamweight or super flyweight, it's 115-pound division, champion of the world, Juan Francisco Estrada, takes on the streaking young kid on the block, and that is, of course, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Now, I can't wait for that fight. It's a real fight fans fight. I think it's going to be an exciting fight, perhaps a changing of the guards, perhaps not. But you underestimate a Mexican fighter at your peril. I did that last week when Jorge Garcia Perez came and knocked out Rourke Knapp here in front of my own eyes at ringside. And to be fair, many people on this side of a pond where I'm at underestimated the Mexican visitor, and he proved us wrong, and he proved that the power is for real, and credit to him. And thank you to all the Mexican fans who watch the channel as well. I really appreciate that. Some of you gave me a tough time because I said that Jorge Garcia Perez is not special. It's not meant as any part in any way as a sign of disrespect, but there's fighters that are good or even very good, like Jorge Garcia Perez, and then there are fighters that are special or elite level fighters, as we like to call them. And if we are speaking about Mexican fighters, talking more about my time, I would rattle off straight off the top of my head. There are many more names like Julio Cesar Chavez, Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, and Juan Manuel Marquez. Now, that is a special level, a different level of fighter. And Juan Francisco Estrada is a pound for pounder, has been around for a long time, a veteran. He is one of those type of fighters. I have no doubt whatever happens Saturday, he's going straight to the Hall of Fame when he retires. And his opponent, Bam Rodriguez, he may also be a special kind of fighter, and that is what we'll find out on Saturday night. If you are as keen as I am to break down the fight, then stick around. Okay guys, tell me below in the comment section who is your current active favorite Mexican fighter, and tell me as well who is your favorite Mexican fighter of all time. I would be interested to know that. And so we're going to have in Phoenix, Arizona, the veteran Juan Francisco Estrada. He's 44-3, and he's going to take on this young upstart Bam Rodriguez, who is undefeated, 19-0, young southpaw, and there's a lot to like about this fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. I can't wait to see this. And if you look at Estrada, he's a two-weight world champion. In his initial try at the junior flyweight title, he got appointed by another great fighter, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. In later years, he since avenged that defeat twice. That was his last fight, the rubber match. They were both very close fights. Some people thought Chocolatito did enough. Some people thought Estrada did enough. Personally, I think Estrada won close fights, and he deserved those decisions in both the rematch and the rubber match. And early career defeat against Juan Carlos Sanchez, a future world champion. He's avenged that by KO. He's also had split a pair of fights against Wisaksel Wangek or Srisaket Sorung Visai, however you want to call the Thai tank. So he has defeated every man he has ever faced. Now Estrada is a great fighter. He can fight going forward, he can fight going back. He's got very good feet, he moves well, and he's got good power as well. He's still the only man to stop Carlos Cuadras. He's a good finisher. When he's got you hurt, he goes for it. And then the other thing about Estrada, besides that he can do all these different things, he is a good finisher. He's not going to let you off the hook like we saw there against Cuadras, and he's a great ring general. He's got a way of making you fight his fight. Now Estrada, if I have to look at where the gaps are, in his fights with Roman Gonzalez, we've seen in those rematch and the rubber match, he starts off well, And then in the second half of the fight, with the pressure that Gonzalez puts on, he starts fading a little bit. Not a lot, just enough to let an elite level fighter back into the fight. And that is a little gap that Bam Rodriguez can exploit. Now, Rodriguez, on the other hand, the southpaw, he has had a meteoric rise. He's only still 19 fights, whereas Estrada's got many more fights. And he won the vacant WBC junior bantamweight or super flyweight title, beating the same Quadras. He defended it a couple of times. One of them a very impressive stoppage over the Thais or on Visai. Drop down in weight. You can do it in these lower weight divisions because the gaps aren't that big. Drop down in weight and won the WBO flyweight belt and unified, stopping the IBF champion Sonny Edwards. Very impressive performances there. Now he's back at super flyweight in the 115 pound division, and he's going to try and win that WBC title again, as well as the Ring Magazine belt. I know I write for those guys, but I think it's a very prestigious belt. It's not easy to win that belt. Now the fact is, can he? Bam Rodriguez, lots of things to like about him. Got a ramrod right jab. He's got that straight left, very accurate from a southpaw stance. And what I also like about Bam, he's got that lead hand, the right hand for the southpaw. He hooks and uppercuts to the head and body, very accurate. And he, like Estrada, he's a very good finisher. If he hurts you, he's on you. He's going to get you out there like he did to Sorong Visai. And more than decent power on both sides. Now, Rodriguez can also fight different styles. He can hang back and box a bit like he did against Sorong Visai, and he can come forward, cut off the ring and hunt you down like he did against Sonny Edwards. He can do both. I think if I have to compare him to Estrada, Estrada's got the slightly better feet. I think he's a little bit quicker on his feet and on his toes, and I think Estrada is a great combination puncher, as is Bam. But Estrada, he's got a bit more volume. He's a little bit busier. If Bam's going to throw 4, he's going to throw 5 or 6. I think that is the difference. That's that busyness. Now, for Estrada to win this fight, my gut feel tells me he's not going to be able to stop Bam Rodriguez. I might be wrong. He might walk him onto something. But, if I look at the way Rodriguez has handled stuff so far, the Thai tank, Sorong Visai, I know it's more of a clubbing power, whereas Estrada's got more snap in him, and Quadras and all of those. Rodriguez has so far handled the power at that level quite well. So I don't think he's going to stop Bam Rodriguez. It's a very even fight. Either man winning won't surprise me at all. So I think Estrada needs to use his quicker feet, his busier hands. He needs to throw his combinations, throw the straight right like you do against a southpaw, move him into that with your hooks, and step around him all the time. He's got to keep the fight in the center of the ring against Bam. He's got to make Bam chase him around, and he's got to turn, use the angles against Bam Rodriguez. Now, as for Bam Rodriguez, if I look at the Chocolatito fights in Estrada, he's not comfortable if you push him back on the ropes, and he's under a lot of pressure that Gonzalez put him under. Now, I know Bam's not the same fighter as Chocolatito. Chocolatito, he's got a little bit more volume. He's got this head movement, the shoulder movement, and the way he uses his hands and arms. He's got a little bit more layered technique there than Bam has got at the moment. But I think Bam Rodriguez is quite a bit stronger. Estrada comes from junior flyweight, Chocolatito comes from lower. There's not much in between them in terms of height and reach. I think Bam has got an inch reach on Estrada. They have the same height. But I think just by watching on TV, and we know how horribly that can go wrong, but Bam Rodriguez seems like physically the stronger fighter to me. I think he's the guy. I think he's physically the guy that can impose himself a bit more on Estrada. And I just think he might not necessarily punch harder, but I think he's got the heavier hands, if that makes sense. Estrada might have more snap, but Bam's got the heavy hands, and he can chase a guy down like he did against Sonny Edwards. He can box a little bit, as I've said. And I think Rodriguez is going to have to hit the body to slow Estrada down, and he's going to have to slowly work him over. Because Estrada is a veteran. I think he'll be 34, 35 years old by Saturday when they step into the ring. That's not old in boxing, but it is older when you're in the lower weight divisions, when you've had that many fights. Now, who is going to win this fight? How are they going to win it, and why are they going to win it? Tell me in the comments. I would like to see what you guys think. And always, please remember to smash that like button if you enjoy the content, and share it among your boxing friends. It will help to get it out there and get a bit of debate going. Now, I'm thinking here, the thing that I don't like on the Estrada side is a year and a half layoff. Now, with all the fighters, it can be a good thing because it can give it body time to rest from all these wars. But so a year layoff is not necessarily a bad thing, but you'd like him to come back with just maybe an easier opponent, a tune-up, rather than jumping straight from the frying pan into the fire here against Bam. But now it's a year and a half layoff, and that worries me a little bit, because Estrada is going to need his timing and the reflexes here. The other thing that worries me a little bit of Estrada, if I look at the Chocolatito fights, he faded a bit late. Yeah, not dramatically, just enough to get Chocolatito back into a fight. In the rubber match, to his credit, that last bit of the final round, he dug deep like champions do, Estrada, and he rallied against Chocolatito to maybe just clinch the fight in his favor. But I think Bam Rodriguez, maybe not as layered as Chocolatito, but younger, fresher. This is a young man's game. I think that is just what's going to put him over. So I expect Estrada to maybe be ahead after 6 rounds. I think Bam's going to struggle with his angles. He's going to struggle with the speed of foot and hand and the combinations that Estrada throw. And it's going to be some hard to score rounds where you have a volume coming from Estrada and the big shots coming from Bam. Who do you score it for? That debate all the time, you know. And I think Estrada might be slightly ahead at the halfway mark. But the body shots of Bam Rodriguez, the heavier shots, I think they're going to do damage to the fighter who's got more miles on the clock, which is Estrada. I think that is going to, in the second half of the fight, I think Bam Rodriguez is going to start doing some damage on Estrada as he slows down, and I think that is going to take the majority of rounds in Rodriguez's favor. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think it's a distance fight. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a bit of a changing of the guards, and Estrada is still going to show why he's headed to the Hall of Fame. But I think over the second half of the fight, Bam Rodriguez will just use his strength, and he'll use that heavy hands that he's got, and the youth, and the more activity, and the better momentum that he's got in his career at this point, to just start edging the rounds his way. And I think Bam Rodriguez is going to win a close, unanimous decision, 2-3 points like that on the cards. And I think it's going to be a terrific fight. Boxing will be the winner. So guys, that is what I think. Tell me, as I've said, who do you think wins and why? And also, remember, until I see you guys again, please subscribe if you feel so inclined. And remember to keep your hands up.